what was your perspective on your sub pattern in the fourth, not going in at 6:55 and then kind of sitting?
You just had to go straight for it, didn't
Why
you?
not?
Didn't you?
You know it's the topic.
That's not why we lost. Obviously, for most of the game, we had some pretty good momentum. Our rotation patterns were pretty consistent. Obviously, I want to be out there, but we understand the big picture. But in this game, we still had opportunities to close it out, and we just didn't. So I don't want that to be the narrative of why we didn't win. We got to execute better, especially down the stretch. But in a game like this, team coming off a back-to-back, and the way that we started the game, honestly, I know it's the league and they're talented, but that shouldn't be the case. Shouldn't have to win it twice, and we put ourselves in that position.
How closely do you review games after they're done? I mean, obviously you can't do anything about it now. The game is over. But when you look at turnovers, do you look for like reasons why? I mean, how do you sort of get through that process of trying not to make it happen again?
You think about it right away. You kind of, especially when you self-reflect on the mistakes that you made individually and what you can do differently. It's understanding how teams are defending and where the traps are, where you can press and get yourself into trouble. And on a night-to-night, you got to be able to make those adjustments really quick. And for us, we were driving too far in the lane, getting too deep in the paint where your only option was to try to finish over a lot of length. And they, collapsed the paint, so we didn't use that to our advantage for the full game. In the first quarter we did, but after that it was kind of, bogged down a little bit, and they used our length to their advantage. So for us, we have to be able to make those adjustments on the fly, and we didn't.
Steph, how would you, analyze your fourth quarter? You haven't scored in a few games. Do you like the shots you're getting? Is it easy to be patient because you have other guys who can score, or is there a part of you that feels like you kind of need to get buckets in the fourth quarter?
Well, we won 2 of them, so I wasn't really worried about it at all. Tonight, there was the last 2 shots in regulation. Obviously, the last one of the game winner looked good. Those are 2 shots I'd take every day of the week. Overtime, I think I pressed a little bit. Maybe settling a little bit, especially when I didn't have it going from 3 and not, get into the paint, getting my, runners off or getting the ball moving. A little critical of myself on those last 3 shots, but, with the way teams guard, I got to be able to be a threat. And I don't know how many field goal attempts I got over the last 3 games. Didn't seem like a lot, but we're what's that? Over 3 games. So like a lot of that's just how the teams are defending, and we can get a lot of good shots. And we were obviously, turning those into wins. Tonight it didn't. So obviously that's going to be something I look at in terms of how I can help down the stretch, but I'm not worried about that.
Acknowledging that minutes are not why, so your substitution is not why you guys lost this game. There's been a couple of post-game comments with Steve where he said, we're talking about Steph's substitution patterns. We want to preserve him for the long game. Have you guys had that conversation to start the season about what the long-term plan is and how many minutes a game is a target for you?
It's always been in that 34 range. Or 5 games in, I think I'm like 36 or 7, whatever it is. So, again, not a lot big body of work to really analyze at this point. And, again, 4-0 before tonight. And, again, that's not why we lost tonight. So, it's not really a pressing issue in terms of how we're approaching that. But just, being available, knowing my body feels good, and the minutes that I'm playing, I feel like I'm pretty locked in and fresh out there. So there's no real concern right now.
Steph, getting back to the shots, Steve was saying he feels like right now you're working too hard for the shots you are getting, and everybody has to kind of fill in around you still and learn what's going on. Do you feel that? Do you agree with the assessment?
Well, OKC game we got, only shot 14 times and we got great shots. So we figured it out in that scenario. Tonight, the turnovers in the second half took a lot of those possessions away. And then we didn't really force them to guard multiple, actions. So if, I'm coming down for pick and roll and my shot's not falling, you play right into their hands. Obviously, I'm going to shoot a lot of those. But for the course of a game, I feel like what he's kind of talking about is just trusting that even if I get a lot of attention, that we're going to create good shots and everybody's going to have an opportunity to impact the game. You just obviously can't have 22 turnovers and do that, especially the way that we have to create those shots. So it's tough when you lose. You realize you got to start nitpicking pretty quickly. And it's good because we have high expectations for the season. We'll see how we bounce back.
Part of the reason your sub patterns are a topic is because last year you guys weren't good when you sat. Yeah, I think you're like minus 168, something like that. Hadn't really been an issue early this season, but tonight minus 15 when you sat. How much does that need to be solved? When you sit, that you guys at least survive.
I mean, the second unit takes a lot of pride, and there's a conversation after the game about, correcting mistakes and understanding that over the course of 82, everybody's going to have an impact on us winning at a high level. And, that's definitely important. Any winning team, you have to have a strong, solid, consistent bench, and we have the talent to do that and just have to put it together. So, starters weren't perfect tonight. Second unit wasn't perfect tonight. You end up losing. It's pretty simple math there. So I know, again, they're going to take pride in, how we execute on both ends of the floor and understand that you don't have to put pressure on yourself either. Just play basketball and just play the right way and good things will happen.
Steph, do you have any words of advice or guidance or comfort for Jordan? I mean, he's new at this whole starting in the NBA thing. He's trying to make his way through and get another high turnover game tonight. Is there anything you can sort of impart to him to kind of help him out?
Always. And always we have a lot of conversations and a lot of feedback and back and forth on, like you said, what it means to be consistent every night. And for him, he wants it really bad. He wants to be great in this league. You can see it, but it takes time. And for him, it's just understanding that you don't have to press every night. Especially when you're on other team scouting reports and they're going to try to take you away from your patterns and your sweet spots and all that. And especially if he's out there with a second unit. He's a featured guy, so he's going to see a lot more attention. It's just about not forcing anything and understanding the game's going to come because he's super talented. He has all the skill set in the world to do, put the ball in the basket, to play make, and he sees the court really well. He just can't press, and usually that starts, between the ears and having a vision of what you're trying to do every night, not worrying about the end result. Like it has to be a certain stat line. It's just when you play well and you impact the game, and he'll figure that out.